Alright boys, what's the story with you? You're listening to the Kick Out podcast. Call me, my number's 085 744. Call me and we have a few beers, yeah?
No one cares.
F*** off Joey Janela, you f***ing dope.
No one cares. I'm the section.
Joey Janela.
And you guys have a good podcast. You don't even listen to it. I listen to it every day.
The Kick Out podcast is my home podcast. Go die, Joey Janela.
You don't even
Joey
listen
Janela.
to it.
We don't want Joey Janela anywhere. We want the Session Martina, right? See you later, bud.
Martina, no one cares.
The face that runs the place.
Long live living.
Goodbye and good night.
How's it going, folks? Welcome to another edition of the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides right here on 90.3 Near FM, on all good podcasting providers, on the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. I'm Dave Cullen, and I'm joined by the man who thinks NXT will be the sole survivor this Sunday, Daragh Maher. Daragh, how are you this afternoon?
I'm not too bad. Well, I'm kind of right, though, because anytime there's a weekend with a takeover and a WWE event, everyone talks about the takeover event being much better.
It is true, like especially the last few times. Like I think, I think there's certainly SummerSlam and even Royal Rumble ones last night. Raw just
and WrestleManias as well.
Well, don't about WrestleMania now.
Well, WrestleMania, not Orlando, the one before in Dallas.
Yeah,
the takeover was better there.
Oh, yeah, we could say that. Yeah, so it definitely delivers most of the time. So how could it be though if they had like the NXT's sort of invasion like they did back in the day?
It would be class.
Yeah.
It would never happen now, mind you, but it would be class. I think the booking of Raw this week sort of showed that it would never happen.
Yeah, good point.
But it would be cool. They don't have the roster for it though, to be fair.
Well, you don't need that many of them, to be honest with you.
To do an invasion, yeah, you do. Remember when ECW and WCW did it? They had loads.
But Nexus only had like 8 people. Or not even 8 people.
That's true, but was that really an invasion, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. It was an invasion. Yeah.
So something to fantasize about. I suppose you're right. Will never happen.
Who'd be the leader, though?
The leader?
Yeah.
I imagine that Drew McIntyre is his champion by default, if not Adam Cole.
But then that'd be turning him heel, then, wouldn't it be, really?
Okay,
you know? Say if the Undisputed Era got strong enough, with enough members, they could do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Or even the Allied with Sanity and stuff like that as well.
Well, that'd never happen, but it could happen, but I wouldn't see it happening in the near future.
Who knows? Anyway, we're coming to you live from Near FM Studios in the beautiful North Dublin village of Coolock. I'll be here for the next 2 hours, bringing you all the latest news, results, previews, rumours and more from the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, and we have a huge weekend as well with looking ahead to NXT TakeOver and Survivor Series. And we've got our prediction video coming out this weekend. Mm-hmm. Dave, it's the last of the predictions.
It is indeed.
We've reached the end.
Yeah.
We've given our predictions. We recorded the video before we've done the podcast this week.
Indeed.
The video will be up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put 2 predictions, the predictions for both NXT TakeOver and Survivor Series in the one video. So it's going to be a pretty lengthy video, but it's going to be interesting. We do differ on a good couple of things as well.
Indeed.
So it's...
I need a miracle, folks. Hashtag Dave needs a miracle.
Yeah. It's currently... It's I'm Denmark, you're Ireland. I'm 5-1 up at the moment, and we're in stoppage time. So you need 5 goals in stoppage time to beat me.
I was going to say too soon, but I can't say anything because I mentioned that in the video. As go back to the show anyway, we'll be giving you all the latest news from the world of pro wrestling, both here and abroad. We'll be reviewing the past week's action from WWE, Raw, Smackdown, 205 Live, and NXT. Obviously, all leading to Survivor Series.
Yep.
We'll be analysing your responses to our question of the week, and then we'll be previewing events coming up from the likes of Pro Wrestling Ulster, Low Blows, and OTT. All that to come, but first we're going to start, as always, with the news.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Also, good news, everyone.
We'll first off start with a story concerning Jack Swagger this week.
Yeah, Jack Swagger is going to be the next wrestler to try his hand at mixed martial arts while appearing on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani. By the way, that show is never an hour. Why do they say it's the MMA Hour? It's like 3 hours long, that show.
Maybe.
Have you ever sat down and tried to watch it?
I never actually listened to that show before,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
It's like 3.5 hours long. It's not the MMA Hour, it's the MMA 3.5 hours. But anyway, we'll move on. Jack Swagger.
Maybe drags or something. No.
Yeah, Jack Swagger, real name John Hager, announced that he signed with Bellator MMA and will be debuting as a heavyweight in 2018. Swagger said he wanted to do MMA for a long time and has been negotiating with Bellator since the summer, finalising terms with them over the weekend. When asked how the news would affect his pro wrestling schedule, Swagger said that he wants to continue wrestling in addition to his new career in MMA. Swagger has been working on the independent scene since departing WWE earlier this year. Swagger noted on an episode of JL Sonnen's Beyond the Fight podcast back in March that he had requested his release from WWE due to a lack of opportunity and being far apart in contract negotiations. He told Sonnen that it would be difficult to decline a good offer to try out MMA if he got one. Before starting with WWE in 2006, Swagger was a standout wrestler in the University of Oklahoma. Bellator MMA, Jack Swagger. I don't know, will he come out with the name Jack Swagger, or will he go back to John Hager?
It wouldn't surprise me if he stuck to Jack Swagger.
I think it would, like how CM Punk kept it with CM Punk.
Exactly, like otherwise CM Punk could be Phil Brooks.
What's the odds on a Swagger against Bobby Lashley match?
Well, it's probably too early to say, like right now.
If I was Bellator's promoters, I would get on that match.
But bear in mind that Bobby Lashley's very experienced in MMA now. He's had
still, it's a money fight.
It is a money fight.
It's still a money fight. They don't care about who's experienced and who's not. It's a money fight.
Personally, I get how it make like financially it would make a lot of sense. But it's like Swagger's only starting now. He's only beginning his training now. So,
but he's not only beginning martial arts training. Like you said, he is an accomplished wrestler. It's not like a CM Punk situation where he's a total novice going into it. He knows
he can wrestle.
Yeah.
So
same as Bobby Lashley could wrestle.
Same as Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Like so he has that background to do very well. And we've always said, or we always think anyway, or it's been taught, that wrestling is the best style to go into mixed martial arts in, because not only is
you can take your opponent to the ground, you can submit them.
Not only that, but like a lot of people say, certainly a lot of wrestlers would say that they are more adaptable and therefore they have that training mentality that to improve their skills, like not just in wrestling but also in the likes of submissions and striking as well. So, and again, there's very few people I can think that would suit MMA career better than Jack Swagger because of that. Like, because he has that that amateur wrestling backgrounds. Like the other people, like Bobby Lashley would suit well. The only person I think would do well in it if he wasn't as old would be Kurt Angle, but obviously, like he's beyond him now. So, or at least we think anyway.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Yeah, but he's in his late 40s now, so I doubt.
Oh yeah, and he can't move his head at all because of his neck. So there's a target right there for people. Exactly.
Like a robot.
Exactly. Yeah, so I don't know. Probably they might give him one or two fights, just to get his feet, his feet down on the ground, and maybe hopefully a win or two or something like that. But I think it's very likely that we will see a Bobby Lashley versus Jack Swagger match.
Or even Josh Barnett. Is he still fighting at the moment?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think, no, he does commentary on New Japan
you're
for
right,
Access TV.
Yeah, with Jim Ross. But, I have to see what happens. Obviously, Bellator is one of the probably behind UFC, they've been the biggest MMA promotions in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
So, interesting to see what happens. Meanwhile, some crushing news. Some very crushing news. After he was written off television last week, WWE have released James Ellsworth. The company statements: WWE has come to terms with the release of WWE superstar James Ellsworth. WWE wishes Ellsworth the best of all of his future endeavours. Ellsworth lost to Becky Lynch in a match that was billed as the Battle of the Sexes on last Tuesday's Smackdown tapings in Manchester, England. He was super kicked by Carmella after the match, but continued to be featured in the rest of the tour stops, being beaten down by the entire Smackdown women's division after their matches on the house shows. Following a memorable cameo in a squash match against Braun Strowman last year, WWE started using Ellsworth on SmackDown and eventually signed him to a contract. He was first used as an underdog babyface and faced AJ Styles multiple times before turning heel and being paired with Carmella. Ellsworth joins Emma, Darren Young, Summer Rae, NXT Sawyer Fulton, Performance Center trainee Leon Gio, and former Tough Enough winner Josh Bradle as wrestlers WWE have released over the last few weeks. This is by far the saddest for me. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like in the way we were kind of get like the way he was booked and the way he was. But that's not actually, to be honest with you. Think about the way he was booked. The fact that we didn't like him towards the end, I think, contributes to the way he was booked. He was booked right. He was booked well.
Yeah.
Like throughout the whole thing, like he was booked well as a heel. He was booked well as a face.
Yeah, like you look at it in the sense that he's probably the one person that we could all relate to most, that he got to live out his dream of being in WWE, even though he didn't have the look of a wrestler, you could say.
Didn't have the physique of a
wrestler.
wrestler.
He didn't have the physique, he didn't have the charisma on the mic either, really. He had a bit, but he couldn't hold a promo, to be fair. The line, like the lines that he was given, he could find, but I think off the cuff he wasn't great.
He had a good word or two.
He did, of course, yeah. Obviously, the famous "any man with two hands has got a fighting chance."
Of course,
Yeah,
but I mean, like when he slated Johnny O'Brien about his child, or even recently with Becky Lynch, like so he has a stern word or two.
But yeah, like he lived out his dream. He said it himself in various Twitter and Instagram posts that he's lucky to have been able to been given the chance from being in a 2-minute squash match because he was a local wrestler in the area to getting a contract in a WWE title match against AJ Styles.
Yeah. To being the first ever Mrs. Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen, congrats to James on everything that's happened to him. Look, and
there's one thing for it now.
He, like we mentioned it last week, ex-WWE personnel can claim more money now on the indies because he's going to be sought after.
Oh yes,
he has a 3-month no compete clause. So from February, he is February 12th. He's able to take bookings.
I'm calling it right now. He's going to be in Ireland next year.
You think so?
I know so. Maybe not know so, but I have a hunch.
Him and Martina in a match.
Oh yes, how amazing that could be his gimmick if he's in the Indies.
Yeah,
he could literally be the indie man for Battle of the Sexes.
Yeah, Justy wouldn't like that though.
Why?
Because he was the one that innovated intergender wrestling, and
he claims
he does.
Well,
he claims he does.
I've actually never seen him in a match. Well, I've only watched OTT up to a certain point, and he did have matches with Martina that I probably didn't see. But I don't know. Lately, though, like he's now almost worldwide known as the Battle of the Sexes guy is James Ellsworth. So, well, how about if it's not an OTT, how about to just see and Ellsworth team up against a female tag team? That could work.
I don't know. I couldn't.
That I'd pay money to see.
I couldn't see Justy being able to put up with Ellsworth that long.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he needs a leash or something like that instead.
I wonder if he had to give back the leashes or he kept them.
What do you think? Anyway, it's a shame, but hopefully we'll see Ellsworth in the Indies soon. Like, as you said, I can easily imagine him making a good name for himself in the Indies. Like so. Meanwhile, we'll move on. Some news about Daniel Bryan this week.
Yeah, in an interview with the Trentonian WWE Smackdown Live General Manager, Daniel Bryan discussed various topics, including pushing to make an in-ring return and the potential of it happening under the WWE banner. He says, "I'm trying to get cleared as we speak. All my tests have come back fantastic. Better than people who have never been in concussion type stuff. We're in a weird situation politically with the climate around concussions right now. It's very difficult. WWE would love to have me back, but is that the smart thing as a business to bring me back? If I was to come back and they let me back, would they get a lot of flack for it? They have a ton of stockholders that they're responsible for. It's far more than just, is he healthy to do it? There's more than that to the whole situation. All the concussion doctors all the concussion doctors think that I am healthy. I'm healthy enough to do it, and that I should be able to do it well. I don't think. I don't want to say all of them. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there who doesn't think that. But there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. That's the unfortunate situation with giant corporations and big business in the United States.
He's certainly testing the idea of it being in WWE. Like, you know,
he wants it to be in WWE.
I think more than anything.
Yeah.
But I think the problem he's having is, you know, all these doctors, like, you know, even though the WWE, one thing I see about that, the WWE really wants him to wrestle again.
They're saying he said there that they do. Because
if it's that testing for their company, like with all the corporations and big business and so on, they want. I question that. Like, imagine he says that so because he feels optimistic, if you like, to do it. I'm not saying like he wouldn't think it's worth the risk, but at the same time, you know, I wouldn't fully agree with that. Like, you know, at least not at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's an awkward one. I think what he's saying there brings to light a lot more, like, makes you understand a lot more why there's such a hesitation to just say yes straight away.
Yeah.
Because, like you're saying, there's a lot of stockholders and stuff, and he's very right with how concussion is being perceived nowadays in the media through all sports, and not just wrestling. That especially with the NFL going through a lot of issues at the moment with concussion, that they have to be very careful that they can't just let someone who has had as many concussions as Daniel Bryan just to go back in despite what the tests say, because there will always be people, that naysayers, that will say you can't do this, and if it gets a negative image, they could lose revenue through maybe not just shareholders but sponsors as well. So if sponsors were to start dropping, then they could start losing revenue, which would then get the stakeholders involved, and we could see, like, I don't know, I'm not saying we could see the end of WWE, but we could see, like, WWE taking a huge financial hit over this one person, and I can see why that they're not going to do that.
Here's the thing though, if he leaves WWE for, let's say, the likes of Ring of Honor and New Japan, would they, and if he wrestled for them, do you think they'd feel that sort of hesitation as well?
No, because they've already said that, Ring of Honor have already said that they'll offer him a contract.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
There you go. I think it's just that bigger business thing that WWE.
The thing is, they're not as big as WWE, so they don't have as many people to answer to. And it's a win-win for them. In terms of it's a win-win, if well, not so win-win maybe might be a little strong, but it's
not about that,
the positives vastly outweigh the negatives in terms of Ring of Honor going for him.
Yeah.
Because the revenue that you bring in alone from announcing that he's signed with you, and then if say, for example, he doesn't ever get cleared, he can still make appearances and it would still bring in revenue. But then if he wrestles, then even more revenue. It's just, I think that's for Ring of Honor, that's what I said, the positives vastly outweigh the negatives, and that's why they should go for it.
At the end of the day, Daniel Bryan gone from WWE, they lose money.
That is it. And the thing is, right, Daniel Bryan is going to get back in a wrestling ring. The way he's been talking the last couple of months, he's getting back in a wrestling ring. It's all down to whether or not it's going to be a WWE ring or it's going to be an independent wrestling.
Certainly, when you hear his latest promos, which we'll get to later on when we talk about the Smackdown, he has that heat in him. Yeah. You know, he wants it. And oh my, I do want him back. There's a part of me that doesn't really want him back. Obviously, we've shown our concern over the last months, and so where all the speculation of him coming back or not. But just let the man wrestle. We'll see what happens. If it's a
lower risk than it was beforehand,
which it sounds like it, from what we're hearing from over and over again, that it must be the case. It has to be the case. Just let it happen. But anyway, let's move on to news regarding Emma, former WWE Women's Wrestler, in an update on the former Women's Wrestler Emma's post-WWE bookings. Negotiations between her and the Stardom promotion in Japan fell through recently, according to reports from the Wrestling Observer, who notes that Emma, real name Giselle Dashwood, was asking for $2,000 per match, first-class tickets, and creative control in her contract. Emma, of course, will not be available for any outside bookings until her 90-day no-compete clause ends on February of next year. Certainly very demand. I imagine all this post-WWE stuff would maybe... that's probably one thing where we haven't actually reflected on people leaving from WWE to the indies, is maybe there's this idea that, like... obviously you're a big star coming from WWE, like no matter where you are in the cards, but also the demands you'd ask for in terms of certainly creative controls, like that's a really mad one to ask for even as well.
Yeah.
Because that's basically, with that she could easily be their women's champion like that.
I don't think it's that. That's not the creative control.
Or certainly with the character.
The way her character is perceived, I think, would be down to her. Or not how it's perceived, how she wants to be perceived, because she can't obviously influence fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's $2,000 is a lot.
It's a lot of money.
First class ticket, a lot of money too. I'm just thinking more like in an indie promotion. No indie promotion is going to pay her $2,000. No way. $2,000 is a lot of money. That's...
Speaking of which, have you actually seen... I saw a very interesting post on Facebook on
I saw that. How much wrestlers cost?
It's some indie wrestlers. Some are surprisingly low.
Yeah.
Now, the ones who are very high...
Joey Ryan was surprisingly low.
Only, what, $300?
I think he's 4 or 5.
Something like that, yeah. I think so was... who else was very low? Michael Elgin was $500 as well.
Yeah.
So... like there's ones he expects to be higher, like Cody I think was up on $2,000 or something like that. Like Ryback was the highest. I think he was like, Jane,
who wants Ryback? Come on,
no one paid that money for him anyway.
No way. No, I don't know if they're true. Someone could have just picked those numbers out anywhere,
maybe,
you know.
But certainly I don't know, like it is a lot of money, $2,000 all the same, like, so we'll have to see what happens. I'd like to see. I think Emma would still do well in the indies, but
well, she brings down her asking price.
She kind of needs to, like,
you know, if this is the way she's like, then like I just hope that she's not getting too big for her boots, you know.
That's the fear.
Like, okay, you were in WWE, but let's if you want to break it down, you weren't all that in WWE. We all hope for better in WWE. Yeah, we do for sure.
Of course.
But
especially on the back of NXT, where she did incredibly well.
From what we saw in WWE, that's what we have to base ourselves off. We can't base on what you think of yourself. And a $2,000 and a first class ticket and creative control is way too much. Way too much.
We'll have to see what happens anyway.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Some developments about WWE's tour of India.
Yes, WWE has added another house show in their Abu Dhabi tour for Raw's brief tour of the United Arab Emirates and India next month. The event will take place in the Zayed Sports City Tennis Stadium, with another WWE show taking place there the night prior on December 8th. Now, if you're wondering why the December 8th date is so familiar, that's because that's when the first date of their 2-night Indian tour was meant to begin. And WWE has now cancelled that show and has turned it into one super show on the 9th of December in New Delhi, I believe.
Indeed.
In India. Now, there's a lot of speculation that the reasoning for this is led to poor ticket sales, which I'm not surprised by. It's not down to a lack of interest, it's down to the price of the tickets. Some people have been quoted saying that the cost of tickets for the Indian shows are WrestleMania-esque prices.
Seriously?
Yes.
Like, how much would that be? Like $500 a ticket?
Yeah.
My God.
In India, no, it's not going to work, unfortunately. So they have now cancelled the show. Rumours were that only 40% of the tickets for each night had been sold. So instead they're going to move the people who bought tickets for the 8th of December have now the option to move over to go to the show on the 9th of December to change their ticket over, or if they want a refund.
Okay.
They can get a refund. Now, if it was a super show, why would they offer a refund?
They would, well, they would, but I imagine the offer would be there. But
Well, they have to by law anyway.
Yeah,
offer a
yeah,
refund.
that's it, yeah.
In case people can't go on the night, they could only go on the 8th.
They're not a bunch of David O'Learys over there, so no worries there. But like, but they've advertised Triple H being in the tour as well now. So
Triple H is going up against Jinder on the India show on the 9th of December, and then on the new 8th of December show in Abu Dhabi, it's going to be a WrestleMania 32 rematch between himself and Roman Reigns.
It was interesting. I didn't see. Did you see the Twitter promo that Triple H put up?
I didn't. No.
It's like behind some rounds punching
He's
back.
like, he was like in a gym or something, and everyone was just so happy for that, because then they knew that Jinder wasn't winning the title back in India against AJ Styles, because if he already had the match against Triple H, so
in a way, it's not bad that they're still doing this for Jinder.
Yeah.
Like because there's so much talk about Jinder going into it. Like that's what we first originally thought. Like when that's the reason he became WWE champion, simply because of the idea that he would be the champion going to India, but it ended up being the case, and it was so close before it.
Yeah.
But there you go. But now he's having showcase
At least it
matches.
saves him from getting beaten by Brock.
That's probably it.
That's Survivor Series as well. And also the fact that he was champion didn't help the ticket sales. So
maybe it was just a reaction going into the Survivor Series.
It was an off the cuff sort of thing as well. They didn't put a lot of planning behind these dates. It was just something that they wanted to try to see what the India in Abu Dhabi and India were like.
Indeed.
So.
But we'll see what happens anyway, all the same. Some news concerning Ryan Smile, the former NLW champion here in OTT, defeated Josh Bonham and Ellen Agabale, Japan's Bushi, to win the Rev Pro British Cruiserweight Championship at Rev Pro's Global Wars UK last Thursday week. He later retained the title, defeating Suzuki Gun's El Desperado on the second night in London, England. So credit to him, he's getting some good runs now, like in Rev Pro. He's wrestled there, like I think certainly the good chunk of his career, but it looks like he's now getting the recognition, if you like, so all credit to him.
Exactly, yeah, fair play to him. Obviously making his return last week at OTT as well. He will be at the December being the Elite show too.
Yeah,
no match has been announced for that yet though.
I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch with him and Scotty. Have you seen the OTT actually?
No,
yeah, last one.
Seen it, no.
It was a very good match. So I have a funny feeling we'd see more between him and Scotty, especially on the back of the match with the brief match with Mark Haskins for the title. We'll finish with this news. News concerning Bram this week.
Yes, British wrestler Bram was on the Morgan Webster's Wrestling Friends podcast this week and spoke about a number of issues, including why he was taken off an OTT card. When Bram was scheduled to be at an OTT event a couple of months ago, and after it was announced on the OTT official Twitter, it was met by numerous people calling for Bram to be taken off the show, some even suggesting that they would boycott it if he wasn't removed. It was argued at the time that the fans' reaction caused OTT promoters to cancel Bram's booking and bring in a replacement. Bram confirmed this on the show during the middle of the show. Now, for those who are not aware, back in August 2015, while still married to Charlotte Flair, Bram was arrested and charged with on 2 felony charges of domestic battery by strangulation and false imprisonment in Gulfport, Florida. The incident did not involve Charlotte, but rather a girl he was seeing at the time. They were actually in the middle of their divorce. In October that same year, all charges were dropped against Bram. He explained that the police involved in his arrest set him up and kept him in a police car for 6 or 7 hours, so he could not get in front of a judge, so he'd have to spend the weekend in prison. He suggested that the police officers involved in the arrest tried to put words into his mouth to claim that he admitted strangling his girlfriend, so his girlfriend would not have to testify, and then he could be convicted because he confessed, which he said did not happen. Right. He also says in the podcast that the female officer involved in his arrest went back to his house after he was put in jail, and said to his girlfriend that he was flirting with her while in the police car. There was a number of issues with the arrest as well that he brought up too. He also claimed that during this period, it was the height of his alcohol abuse and drug abuse. I got a chance to listen to the podcast today.
Okay.
You know,
No, I haven't heard any of this, so this is all.
Yeah.
So I don't have much an opinion on this, like, because I don't know much about it. Like, I've heard obviously all the bits and pieces gone up with OTT, especially, but
I've heard of Bram before. We actually saw him at a CCW event.
We did
back in August, the Super Larietto Brothers show.
This was about a month or two before the OTT.
This was in the summer, yes.
Yeah.
And I had no idea at the time. You didn't either. That
no one did.
People did know.
I don't think Lee knew either, to be honest with you.
No, they did. They did.
Oh,
yeah,
they did?
They did.
Oh, okay.
But it was obviously known by I guess, I wouldn't say like more well-informed wrestling fans of what his past was like. But when we were at the show, there was no issues there with Bram. There was no one saying anything.
We didn't hear any derogatory chants.
Nothing at all. And Bram was actually welcomed into CCW, and he had was Lewis Garvin, wasn't it? He went through the whole. He actually went through the crowd and everything. I remember that match quite well because I got a drink thrown over me by Lewis Garvin trying to hit Bram with it.
Yeah, that was my beer, by the way.
But then obviously he was announced for the OTT show going up against, I think it was Bobby George Jr. He was actually meant to go up against, which then started the Twitter
process,
campaign by people to get him taken off the show, which he was eventually taking off. It's a horror. He admitted himself in the podcast that this is what's going to happen because people are going to assume that he's already guilty. And I agree with that sense that we see this all too often. And I'm not just talking about this Bram case, but in every case in general. Once the accusation is made, people assume guilt already.
True. But,
you know?
it's one of these things where, I don't know, like it's like, for example, I see what you mean, where, like, you know, accused and that obviously was presumed guilt whatsoever, but it's just one of these things where it's like it's so baffling for me to even think about, to be honest.
Yeah, so like I'll just go into sorry, just 2 seconds there.
You drink away. It's encouraged.
So so he talks about a number of issues, and he talked about his other arrests as well. He was arrested for assaulting a police officer too, which he held his hands up and he says that, yes, it was his fault. What happened was the laws in America are very strict when it comes to,
of course,
laying your hands on a police officer. So what happened was...
They can be very strict, the police over there.
They can.
I actually heard a report there, this is completely off topic, we heard a report there where I think the police were we're trying to put a suspect down, and then he charged them for destroying government property because there was blood on the cop's shirt and stuff like that. So it goes to that extreme.
It can, yeah, exactly. So they take the law very literally when they went over there. And he admitted that, like, when a police officer tried to grab him, he was really drunk. He thought it was some random person. He pushed him away and said, "Get the F away from me," and that was caused as police assault. He holds his hands up saying, yeah, he did do that. He this was another time. He said himself he's been an alcoholic for years.
I know I was going to say now, I lost my head for the last time. Does he accept the idea of why he's, at the moment, he is having a hard time getting shows such as OTT because of all these things? Yeah,
because, like I was saying, people are going to assume things without knowing the true facts.
Well, I won't.
No. Okay, I'll take that. I'll refrain that comment. But
yeah,
I'll go back to the previous comment that I made. That once the accusation is made, people assume guilt.
Or would see it and think, well, you know, this
story was out about him supposedly battering his girlfriend.
It's certainly a serious accusation, you know, and you'd think would be true. Mm-hmm. What do you make of his story? It sounds very detailed.
First of all, in the whole podcast in general, I thought he came across very well.
Okay. He
admitted himself that, look, these problems he brought on himself through his drug and drink abuse for years. He explained the whole situation where that night of the supposed abuse, where him and his girlfriend were both alcoholics. They were drinking that night with friends. A fight ensued between him and his girlfriend in the parking lot. The girlfriend pulled him around the parking lot, he says, trying to antagonize him. Now, the next comment he made did not help.
What do you say?
And I can... This is definitely a comment which kind of... how can I say this properly?
Just say it.
His next comment was like, it was fuel to the fire for people that already had their suspicions about him.
Go for it.
So he said that his girlfriend was antagonizing him, saying, hit me, hit me, hit me. He then said that, look at me. And anyone that knows, Broughton is actually a pretty big guy, pretty well built guy.
Yeah.
And he says, if the size of her, she was so tiny, if I was to hit her, I'd kill her.
Yeah.
You know, It's not the best comment to make. You can see where he's coming from, what he's trying to say, but the way he said it just didn't work. It was just totally...
It certainly doesn't help his case.
It was totally wrong, yeah.
It's a very... I can't believe it's actually it's very similar to what Mike Tyson said before.
Yeah.
Like Mike Tyson, he had similar accusations made to him when he was married to I forget her name, his ex-wife during the 80s. He said the similar comments. I mean, look at me, look at her. If I lay a hand on there, rip her head off, you know. So
then the fight continued. Neighbours called the police. One of the police officers took her into one room and left him there. They then said that she said you did this, the strangulation and the kidnapping, which then led to them leaving him in the police car. Then he was stuck in jail. He heard through a bail bondsman that the police had reported the arrest to the news. They had also rang Impact Wrestling at the time, who were his employers, and said that we have your guy. He then was told that the female police officer involved went back to the house, like I said, told the girlfriend that he was flirting with her, and then threw out all his beer. He then said,
it's certainly
it's such, like, you can't make this story out of the blue. The detail that he went into, it's not something like I'm on the side of this man was not convicted of anything.
Yeah.
The charges were dropped. The reason why it went on so long was, in America, if you get a confession, then they can proceed charging you, and even if, say, the person who was claimed to be assaulted wanted to drop the charges, they can't. Which is, the girlfriend wanted to drop the charges, but they couldn't because they wanted to push for it, because they claimed that he admitted what they did. He flat out denies it, saying that he never admitted anything, saying if that was the case he'd be in jail. Yeah. Which is right going by law in America. So I did not agree with the fact when it was first announced that he was taken off the card. I did not agree that he should have been.
Okay.
Because
I can certainly understand, especially with the pressure that a lot of fans are putting on them, and certainly.
But the thing is, like,
but then,
I don't want to dismiss fans' reservations against him being on the show. Of course, because I fully understand if you have your, like, I have my opinion on the matter, they have their opinion on the matter.
Of course.
But I feel that he shouldn't be losing out on work for something that was claimed to have been done. Like I was saying, if it's reported, they're assuming guilt. Yeah. If he did do this, right, and then he was convicted of it, understandable. Right. Do not let he shouldn't be working and stuff like that and doing shows and stuff like that. What? But he wasn't convicted of it.
There's one thing that
the girlfriend wanted to drop the charges as well.
There's one thing I realised, though. It is a very detailed story, but didn't he say he was drunk during it? How do you remember then?
Yeah, he was drunk during it, yeah.
How do we remember such a detailed story, or able to then go... Maybe he had time to think about it all the same, but...
Because a lot of the stuff that he was talking about he was told through a bail bondsman.
Okay.
Yeah. The girlfriend then, I believe, told him that the police officer came back as well.
So in the meantime, what's the story with him now? Is this still in court now, or
No, it's gone.
It's gone.
Gone completely. There's nothing there anymore. The case was dropped. He has, obviously the record that he was arrested that night will always be there.
So that accusation, then, in other words, is going to be on top
The
of him?
accusation still going to be over his head. There's always going to be the what ifs. I can understand that.
Yeah,
fair enough. But the fact that he wasn't convicted of it is, I don't think it's fair on him as a person who was just trying to work. And it's actually quite interesting because when we went down to Cork that night, the guys that we went with, Stephen and Cormac, they were outside having a cigarette at the time, and he had just finished the match. He went outside to get some air, and they actually bumped into Bram, and they're actually talking to him. And it's quite an interesting point that he said to them. They talked to him, it's like, oh, so great match, and like, how do you feel like being back in or being in Ireland and stuff like this? And he was like,
what do you say? Man,
I just love being able to wrestle again.
So it's a relief for him, so it's a release for him as well. You'd imagine as well. We'll have to see what happens. It's really difficult. Like, I don't know enough about it than you do, so it's really hard for me to make an opinion on it. But I honestly don't know what to say. Like, we'll have to see what happens. Like, I obviously, if it's behind him now and all this stuff, then I can't see why he wouldn't wrestle. But we'll have to see what happens. So that's my view on it in the meantime. So, like, I know you're way more educated about it than I am about, so I really don't know what more to say about it. Yourself.
No, you're making the right point as well.
Yeah. Now let's continue on with our results of the week.
Oh my God! What the hell is going on? Oh my God!
And we'll start off with Monday Night Raw.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw.
We'll start off right from the top with Stephanie coming out talking about hard decisions before bringing Kurt Angle out, and then she becomes Edward basically Stephanie Scissorhands. Brings the shares out and questions why New Day was at Raw the week before, making fun of him for Shane humiliating him again, and then questions about Jason Jordan's addition to the team and not getting John Cena like SmackDown did, and then the acting. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was a lot of pointing fingers. I thought it was the end of Kurt Angle already.
It just didn't make any sense to me. Was it really necessary to you think Stephanie, certainly on the Go Home show Survivor Series, would encourage Kurt, would trying to be uplifting. He has enough motivation and pressure as it is, knowing that he could get fired next week. Why?
Yeah.
Why try and make it worse? Be encouraging for a change instead of talking crap for the sake of it.
Just Steph being a boss.
Yeah, but there's being a boss and there's being a complete wagon of a boss at the same time.
Yeah.
and I use that term loosely.
Wagon.
What an Irish way it's called. Angle vows to start the match and break Kurt Angle's ankle at Survivor Series, but she continues to bury him, calling him soft, saying he can't hang anymore, and he wants Shane's head in the platter, and wants SmackDown completely decimated, and again threatens to fire him until the Shield came out with Ambrose praising Angle, saying that he proved it at TLC. Stephanie then becomes Stephanie Scissorhands once more and says runs him down for losing the tag titles, saying that Angle and the New Day made him look like fools.
She did make one good comment when Roman was just standing there and she was like, "Where have you been for the last few weeks?"
Yeah, but then he said,
like, "Where have you been? Yeah. All you did was go through a table."
Exactly, that's your one bump of the year. And
then there's Seth Rollins just tugging at his collar, going, "Oh."
Yeah, but that's our one bump in the year, and let's be honest, it didn't count.
Yeah,
not really. For me, it didn't. Anyway, compared to the spear from the year before, anyway, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. She should know better. But anyway, he goes on to say that
would it be this WrestleMania she then gets the dirty deeds?
It would be
make the trio complete, wouldn't it?
Technically, it wasn't Seth Rollins who did to Stephanie. It was Triple H who did to Stephanie.
I'm just saying it's a Shield member involved.
Suppose. Roman Reigns went on to say that they can do what they want and they want to fight the New Day, and if they accept, they will face at Survivor Series. Do you think this will lead to the seat? This here in particular starts the seat between Kurt and Triple H?
Oh yeah, Kurt Triple H WrestleMania, it's happening then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely sad to see us there for sure. Bailey became the 5th member of the Raw women's team, defeating Dana Brooke and Mickie James. Dana Brooke tried to roll at the floor. Asuka checked on her, and then Brooke attacked her, and she paid the price for that. It's that kick at ringside, for example.
Yeah.
Bailey back in, getting a backslide for 2. Then the Bailey to belly suplex finished it after reversals from a DDT. And Bailey is in the team, and it makes sense. Like, do you still feel though? We talked about the heel turn. Bailey, still feel it could happen. Maybe not now, but during
Bailey
the match.
heel turn. I'd say more Sasha heel turn.
Sasha heel turn.
Yeah.
I'd be more.
I'd be more interested in the Sasha heel turn.
I'd be more interested in Bailey because it's
really.
It's we don't know what Bailey is like as a heel.
Sasha's so much better as a heel.
We know that. That's the point. We don't know what Bailey's like as a heel. That's why it's more intriguing.
Yeah, that's why it could be awful.
We don't know that. It could be very good.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Like, how would she come out as a heel? Like, you change her music first of all.
Yeah.
And then what would happen with the super inflatable men? Would she just like come out with like a knife or something and cut them all down?
Oh
as she comes out?
Yes. I'm all for that.
Okay.
Well, Enzo getting Drew Gulak against Kyrgyzstan and Kalisto. Enzo won that. Momentum gone to 205. Won't go on too much about that.
Yes, please. Let's just stop.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Angle meets it with Team Raw, noting that he didn't want to take any chances. He knows that Joe and Balor face the Gallows and Anderson tonight, so they can work as a team. He also booked Jordan versus Wyatt. Braun wants Kane, and Kurt agrees.
Yeah, by the way, this whole Wyatt thing, he just came back. That just. Oh, by the way, you're facing Bray Wyatt tonight. There was no like, oh, Bray Wyatt's back. By the way, it was just like, yeah, you're facing Bray Wyatt tonight.
No, anything else with it. Just it was.
Yeah.
Miz TV. I have to admit, I do love Miz TV, but this one felt pointless to me.
It was a little.
I won't say that, but
it was.
It's more. It leads to nothing. It leads to nothing. It's usually talking to a face, and it usually leads to an altercation. But it was nothing. It was just ribbing. It was just. It was more Miz going on about Baron Corbin, and then the bar came out and they were talking about how the Usos saying they're the champions of the B show. And all this bantery and stuff like that, and I don't know. It was a heel promo, but there was no point to it.
Yeah,
I like it's kind of strange. Jason Jordan against Bray Wyatt. During this match, Wyatt, I think Jordan hurt his knee. I think he was he grounded the knee landed on his knee awkwardly. What happened was then Wyatt then tried to kill Jordan with his Uranagi to cheers to the crowd. Shows how over Jordan isn't at the moment.
Yeah.
Jordan fired back with
there was a thank you Bray after the match.
Jordan fired back with rights and elbows, escaping Sister Abigail and getting the roll up for the win. Wyatt then literally destroys Jordan after the match, which the crowd liked.
Yeah.
It posted the bad leg, and then Angle rushed from backstage where he was watching the match with Stephanie to check on, but he never arrived.
Yeah.
Well, Wyatt got, as you said, thank you Wyatt chance. Jordan limped to the back with hey goodbye chance. Jordan then with the trainers, and Kurt was there, and Jordan didn't think Jordan can compete on Sunday, but he begged him to let him fight, saying I deserve this, Dad. Playing the
Dad, please, Dad.
No, we've never really seen.
That's the first time he said Dad. Like, he was half calling him Kurt and half calling him
Dad. It's the first time, though, I think, since Jordan and Angle have been together, that he's actually used the Dad cards.
Yeah. I think so, actually.
And could you
actually, no, he wasn't half saying it. He said it once when he was trying to give him the puppy dog eyes. He was like, please, Dad, don't let me don't take me out of the team.
Battering his eyelids at him.
Yeah.
It's so like such an American football, Pee-wee football story or something like that.
Yeah.
Would you see that as a very predictable outcome though, where Jordan is getting the win like that? Like, so certainly against Wyatt, who we never saw.
Yeah. Like, the story was more about, instead of that match, was more about Booker T. I think, sure.
Still slating him.
And then, like, I think it was Corey Graves who's like, oh, if he wins, Booker, do you think he should deserve to be on the team then? He goes, well, yeah, fine then, yeah. And then he wins it, and then Corey Graves like, look, Booker, he won. He won, Booker. He won.
I'm telling you. I'm going back to what I said last week. I'm convinced Booker T is in some relation to Jason Jordan.
No, man.
It makes so much sense.
No.
Why else would he badger him like that?
Because it has to be a heel commentator at one point in it. Normally it's Corey, but he can't be because
Yeah,
he's
but
the one that brought them together. So
Yeah, but it's good. It could be a change then. Like it could make Corey a face commentator, and Booker T the heel commentator. Why not? Let's talk about Brock Lesnar and Heyman segments where Brock.
yeah, you had a problem with this, didn't you?
I'll get to it. I'll get to it first. He introduced himself, explained why he needs to describe WWE Network, Universal Champion versus WWE Champion. Now, during all this, when I think Heyman was putting over Styles' speed and resilience, apparently someone proposed in the crowds.
Yeah.
Because we heard she said yes.
She said yes.
Only for Heyman to say she only said yes because she's never been this close to the Beast. Fair play to him, good recovery. Yeah. He goes on to make 5 points before saying that point F5 that this is no Rocky movie. Styles cannot survive Suplex City, the F5 or the Beast, and Heyman can't wait to see him up close and can't wait to praise his heroic effort in the loss to Brock Lesnar. Now, the point I was going to make is it was a point that I've saw in a review of Raw, and it made me think about it. Do you feel that Paul Heyman's promos, as good as they are, as engaging as they are, can be repetitive at times?
Yes, they can be. But kind of show me a promo that's kind of, like, apart from obviously the pipe bombs, like the really well known ones.
Yeah.
And kind of show me promos that aren't
the fact is
repetitive. The fact that he's so confident in his delivery, that's what people love about him.
And the fact that he, as you said, the crowd, no matter how it is portrayed, they're always invested in him. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If it became repetitive to the point where the crowd weren't invested anymore, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
But it's Paul Heyman.
Exactly.
And see, I don't think I'll ever have that problem. Now, Miz and the Shield against Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus. Cesaro cut the spear, tagged in Miz, and hit a springboard uppercut. Miz gets to a roll up for 2. The Shield clears the ring as it breaks down, and Miz is all alone. He gets speared, and the Shield bomb to finish off. The weird thing about this match, it was a good match, fantastic match, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But is it a weird match to book on the Go Home show of Survivor Series when both teams, everyone is supposed to be looking for momentum? Does this kill for let's say Miz and Cesaro and Sheamus?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I mean, it's great that they're trying to put the Shield over against the New Day, which is obviously a way more appealing match than the other 2 matches.
Yep. It doesn't make sense.
I'm
why are you hurting 3 of your competitors going into Survivor Series?
I'm not usually this critical, but I just can't help.
You're coming to my side of thinking when it comes to WWE and their horrible booking.
I'm just questioning it as opposed to accusing of it.
Why couldn't you throw the Shield against? I don't know. You could have picked any 3. You really could have. You could have picked any 3 people and put the Shield against them to make them at least put a match. Or you could have even not have put them in a match.
Or even similar to what they did with Balor and Joe last week, just have it be like a big mess at the end or something like that, where at least both come off strong, no one's hurt.
But see, yeah, they fought each other no problem because they fought each other no problem because they weren't in the team yet. So there was no issue with them being in a match against each other.
Yeah.
But now that they're in the team, they were with each other against 2 people who aren't booked in it.
Yeah.
You could have done... I'm trying to think of people that they could have put them against. If you wanted Sheamus Cesaro in a match, you could have put them against Slater and Rhino. There you go. Makes them look strong. You could have put Miz against Matt Hardy again because they love that match. I don't know why, but they just do. And then you could have just left the Shield comeback to be... Because you wanted the Shield's comeback to be on a pay-per-view. You could have left it and put it on Survivor Series. There you go. Hype. Build up.
Indeed. Moving on. Triple H returned. Kurt Angle arrived saying that Jordan has been injured. But he has to pull him out of the Survivor Series match. Replacing Jordan will be, but wait, Jordan arrives, begs Kurt to give him another chance, wants to fight for his father, he'll be fine by Sunday, begs Kurt he can do it because Kurt fought injured and can do this. He emulated Kurt his whole life, coming to Raw, being with him was being a dream come true. Don't take this away from me, I'll never get another chance again. Really plays the father card hard.
He was right though about that. He'll never get another chance like this again. I was like, yeah, you're right, because this time next year you'll probably be back in NXT or be in a tag team again.
Who knows? Stephanie then arrived, cut him off, and tells Kurt to make the announcements. Does it now, but didn't. And then Triple H's music hits. He and Angle go face to face until Triple H announced that he's joining Team Raw, replacing Jordan.
Yep. The
crowd chants for a pedigree, and Triple H lays him out with a pedigree to the non-response of Kurt Angle.
Yep.
Which was a bit strange.
Yeah.
What I think what they're doing with Kurt is almost very similar to what they're doing with Mick Foley. Now that works well for Mick Foley, you could argue, because Mick Foley can look very good, being very sympathetic. It's one of his qualities as a performer. Kurt Angle, though, although he's equally as good, as awesome as a performer as Foley, is it really necessary to repeat it 2 times in a row, just to put over the McMahons?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's so...
Obviously, it's going to be different the way we see it going to WrestleMania, but still.
Like, the big problem I had with this was Triple H comes in, I'm the 5th member, blah, blah. Okay, whatever, you're the 5th member. Then, you pedigree Jason Jordan in front of his dad, and Angle does nothing. Like, let's stay out of kayfabe at the moment and let's go into real life.
Yeah.
If that's real life, and let's say, for example, I'm your son,
right,
and I get sucker punched by some lad, you're stepping in. You're going after the guy that punched me. So why doesn't Triple H, why isn't Angle stepping in on Triple H? At least go face to face with him and put his nose to nose.
The only way that would actually make sense is if Kurt Angle was injured, or if he had some sort of crutch, or if for some reason his movement was slow.
Yeah,
but
no, there's nothing wrong with him. He's ready for Sunday.
He's
supposedly
captain of Raw team.
Yeah.
There's 2 other talking points I want to bring up with this. Do you feel that Triple H being on Team Raw is a good response with seeing it being announced on SmackDown, or do you feel it's slightly desperate? There's 2 ways you could look at it. I mean, obviously the addition of Cena is awesome, but do you feel it's desperate or good that they're adding Triple H?
It definitely brought the average age of the Raw team all the way down. Or all the way up, you should say. I'll probably say. Yeah, all the way up. I don't know. It adds more star power to the match in general.
There's no doubt about that. But it's like,
I think it could hinder the match a little bit because of what Jason Jordan can do being the young guy in the match in comparison to Triple H, who's the younger guy.
Of course.
Or the older guy, I should say.
Yeah.
Because, say, last year was, apart from Shane, it was like people in their prime and stuff like that, people that could keep going throughout the whole match and stuff and won't get gassed out. We've got Shane, we've got Kurt, and we've got Triple H.
That said, it makes it a way more intriguing match.
It does make it a lot more intriguing, and especially with my prediction, is definitely a lot more intriguing.
Yeah. One more thing I want to bring up: could this be the start, or certainly the seeds of a Jason Jordan heel turn? If not, Survivor Series in the future.
I think the only way for him to work is going as a heel. Mm-hmm. Whether WWE will pull the trigger on that, I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. Now, very quickly, I'll bring up the rest of the results. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe took on Gallows and Anderson. They shoved each other down at one point, but worked actually very well together despite some blind tags.
Really good match.
Really enjoyed it, actually.
The way the story was told. And as soon as the match was finished, Joe got down and just walked off. He's like, "Yeah, my work with you is done. I know we're teammates here at the moment. I'm going to be on the team until after Survivor Series. Then I'm going back to beating up everyone I can find."
Very clever booking in my view. Alexa Bliss brought up saying that the power shifted from SmackDown to Raw when she went to Raw, and then SmackDown became the B show as a result. And teased showing up for the match between Charlotte and Natalya on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Then Braun Strowman versus Kane, which wasn't even a match; it was just a brawl. The referee, for some reason, didn't put on.
The referee stood there in the middle while they were looking at each other for ages, didn't ring the bell, and then got upset when they started fighting, which is what they're meant to do.
It was a match, or was a brawl, but it wasn't mentioned to be a brawl. It wasn't or it was announced as a match.
But then it was rolling commentary throughout the whole thing as if it was a match going on.
It ended with they battled in the ropes. Strowman knocked Kane into the ring. Kane grabbed Strowman for a chokeslam, but Strowman fought it off, and then Strowman power slammed Kane through the ring.
Yep.
To a huge pop.
Yep. It's better. At least it's so much more better than them doing the superplex that explodes the ring, because they've done that too many times. This is different.
Or certainly it's fresh in the mind in the back of the big show, like you know. So anyway, let's move on to SmackDown.
On to the Rock Show, to the premiere show, SmackDown.
Started with Shane McMahon firing up the SmackDown locker room, praising them for their attacks on Raw, warns them about Raw's potential retaliation on the nights. After Sunday, they won't be the B team, they won't be the B show, they'll be the D show. Everyone was all fired up, with Shane brings up Triple H being added to Team Raw, but isn't afraid because they have John Cena. New Day said they aren't afraid of the Shield, and everyone is one happy family all dancing around the end.
Yeah. It's just a problem I have with Survivor Series in general. That these guys are being all lovey-dovey. Like at the start of this whole thing, Sin Cara and Baron Corbin,
they're almost coexisting on the
were
match.
in the same room, in the same group, cheering together before their match to become United States champion, while they're meant to be hating each other.
See, here's the thing I compare this to. Compared to last year's Survivor Series, well, even though they were on the same page, there was some tensions on the teams. Look at Charlotte and Bayley on the Raw team after they won.
Yep.
Look at
AJ and Dean
Ambrose.
Ambrose.
And Dean Ambrose
Yeah.
on SmackDown. Yeah, exactly. So it seems like everyone's on the same
this whole
page.
love-in thing is just, it's not working.
It's sort of it almost breaks kayfabe in a way.
It does, yeah.
Big time. Daniel Bryan comes back, saying he's happy to be back, takes responsibility for being attacked, saying he should have known better and was afraid, which is why they added Triple H to their team. He doesn't agree with SmackDown attacking Raw and knows that Team Raw could come here and attack them, but he ain't afraid and he'll be ready. Very proud of SmackDown. His wrestlers at hearts can prove they better come Sunday nights, and brings up John Cena adds the team, introduces AJ Styles. He then does like a very Paul Heyman-esque promo of his own.
Yep.
He offers his services
He's being an advocate for the night for AJ Styles,
which he agreed.
Yep.
And does like a very promo where the crowd's really into it, saying that he mostly agrees with Heyman, but but not when he said Styles will be brutalized and defeated. Brian knows that Lesnar is big and strong, but his head is thick.
Yeah.
Calling Lesnar a quitter, like he quit WWE and quit to a quote half-ass knee bar in the UFC pay-per-view. And when things get rough, Lesnar always quits, whereas Styles will take him to deep waters.
I think he missed a trick there.
What?
You know how Heyman said the point F5 in the promo? I think Daniel missed a trick by saying, I want to make an addendum to point forearm.
Points
because
forearm.
There's going to be a phenomenal forearm
nice.
involved in this. Just, it could have worked so well.
Or point phenomenal one, or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
needs to be one, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Do you not think that could come across as a bit cheesy though, if it's done like that? Certainly compared to F5
It was just no,
and
'cause
response like that.
Yeah, you could do one in response to what Heyman did.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, Heyman said point F5 and I don't agree with that. I also would like to make a change to point 4. It's actually point forearm.
Yeah.
A phenomenal forearm will be coming Brock Lesnar's way.
Yeah.
You know, it works. It's perfect.
Styles goes on to say he's not a puppet like Lesnar and can talk, and though he agrees he may be an underdog, it isn't a Rocky movie, it's a AJ Styles production, and he'll find a way to win to prove that SmackDown is the best and it's the house that AJ built. Do you think the addition of Daniel Bryan is good for this match?
I don't think he's involved in the match. I know we had this discussion.
Yeah.
That was a one-time thing just for that.
Oh, you think
he's
so?
not. I don't think he's going to be in his corner. on the mat when it comes to the match on Sunday.
Maybe we say maybe you're right. It'd be great if it was, but sure we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, backstage, Styles walks into Mahal. Mahal vows he'll be champion again, and he'll destroy Styles after Let's destroys him. Styles just walks off.
Could he have something to do with the match on Sunday? He might do.
Wouldn't surprise me, actually. Baron Corbin took on Sin Cara for the US title. Cara off the apron, stunned Corbin off the rope, slow bridge to the floor. Cara followed with a moonsault to the floor, but then back in the ring, Corbin avoided attack from the top, and then his end of days for the win. End of story. Still US champion.
Decent match.
Decent.
It wasn't,
Not bad.
it wasn't terrible.
It was actually a good match.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
It ends a feud just like that, so I'm okay with that. Now here's a very interesting one. Daniel Bryan and Shane met backstage.
Can we talk actually very quickly?
Yeah,
You know the what do they call it? Is it vignette or something?
The vignettes.
Of like Corbin and Miz standing together. You know how Corbin holds up his title? It makes it look as if Miz has both titles.
Oh,
Have
really?
you noticed that? He has like he has his intercontinental title on one arm, and the way Corbin holds up his title in the vignette is as if Styles or Miz is actually holding that title as well, as if he owns both titles.
I didn't notice that. Actually.
next time you see it, or the next ad break, I'll show you.
If they bring it up on the pre-show, I must check it out.
Yeah.
No, but very interestingly, Daniel Bryan and Shane met backstage, saying that they're good to go and they're unified. But Bryan wants to talk after Survivor Series, and says they need to get on the same page. Interesting. It was very like you could see the look on Shane's face. What's that about?
Yeah, exactly.
Natalia against Charlotte, Smackdown.
It's like that thing. He's talking like, hey, Shane gave the look as if any fella gives when their girlfriend says we have to have a talk.
Well, never not that. But
What do they do?
it's obviously over like a communication over the Under Siege thing, but we'll see what happens. Natalia against Charlotte, Smackdown women's
Or how come
title.
you got cleared to wrestle and I couldn't?
Exactly. You're
general
leading the
manager.
charge. You're the Smackdown captain. What about me?
The general manager of Raw got to wrestle. I'm the general manager of SmackDown. I don't get to wrestle.
Fucking commissioners. Charlotte versus Natalia, Smackdown women's title. Natalia, the match was won. Natalia hit some rights, locked in Charlotte with the sharpshooter. She fought back despite being dragged to the center of the ring, powered out, made the ropes. Natalia followed with clubbing strikes.
A lot of throwing the opponent outside of the ring in this match, I noticed.
Slow down the match, I imagine.
A lot of it. A lot more than usual.
I don't notice that so much, actually, if I'm honest with you. Charlotte was sent to the floor. Natalia came back in, hit the big boots, and then locked in the finger eights to submit Natalia to become only the second lady in history to become both SmackDown and Raw Women's Champion. First was, of course, her opponent on Survivor Series.
The first woman actually to win the NXT Women's title, the Divas Championship, the Raw Women's Championship, and the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Who else can say that?
Yeah, 5-time women champion. You know, she's beaten that 16. I'm telling you now, she'll beat that 16.
Post-match, she said it's the title she's wanted since the Superstar shake-up, and to win it in her hometown, of course, it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. On Sunday, she'll make Bliss bow down to the Queen and win it for Team Blue. She then went on to talk about Ric Flair, her father. He's been in a hard time. Everyone knows that. She knows he's at home watching right now, and the whole match was for him. And when she walked back halfway up the ramp, Ric Flair's music hits. She rushes to him and they embrace each other.
You couldn't help but have a little lump in your throat when you saw that.
Oh, it was lovely. It was lovely. Now, with that in mind, we now know that Charlotte, who was originally on Team SmackDown for the women's match, is now defending taking on Alexa Bliss instead of Natalia, which leaves an empty spot on the SmackDown team.
Yes. Now, I just automatically assumed that Natalia would be taking it
take
over,
that,
but WWE are leaving it blank.
Yeah, until Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Could be anyone.
Could be anyone.
We both have made predictions of this.
Of who we think it is.
Yeah.
We differ on it.
We do differ. With a point on the line, my lads. I'm more excited for my option.
All I can say, Dave, is you can look, but you can't touch.
I wish I had a... Well, we'll see about that. We'll see whose house this is.
There you go. There you go.
I was struggling to find
There you go.
I was struggling to find a segue, if I'm honest with you. Jimmy Uso against Chad Gable. Obviously, Jimmy Uso injured his knee last week. Gable tried to keep dismantling the knee, miss a moonsault. Jimmy super kicked the knee of Gable. Jimmy picked up the pace, his Samoan drop, and then the Samoan clam bake with 2. Jimmy looked for a dive, but then Gable cut it off with a rolling kick. Gable shoved Jay, then Jay took out Shelton, allowing Jimmy to hit Gable with the super kick and the win. Good aggression. I like this match, actually, because it's kind of strange because
keep this rivalry going, I hope, anyway.
yeah, because I feel there's a bit of a heat. There's the heatish aggression of Gable. Like, I like it. Like, you know,
it's a new aggressive streak that he's gotten.
I like it
for sure. Yeah,
I like it. So, now the main event: the New Day, Woods and Big E against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Before the match, Zayn and Kevin Owens talked. Sami was annoyed that he isn't on Survivor Series. They run down New Day because they felt they should be facing the Shield on Sunday instead. New Day pre-match promo said that the Shield are like dogs who eat their own poop. They don't trust each other as they turned on each other before, and with Woods predicting that by WrestleMania they won't be together anymore. The match itself, Sami tagged in, and Woods rolled and gets a tag. Big E comes in and runs wild, tossing Sami Zayn around with suplexes and a ring splash for 2. Big E tosses Owens, and Woods hits a trapeze out. Out comes the Shields. Owens and Sami bail.
They stood in the ring there side by side with them for a second.
Come on. See you later. See you later. Allowing the Shield to beat them up. Usos arrived, then Sheamus and Cesaro arrived.
Can we mention just how bad those t-shirts were? The half and halves.
Well,
they were awful.
Well,
man.
Seth Rollins did something similar.
That's because he was having a little thing against the Authority at the time. But they were so bad.
Don't like it?
Oh no! Why? Like, if you're gonna do that,
he's do it right, says he.
If you're gonna do it, give everyone a half and half, like a half of Braun and Raw t-shirt, a half of the Bar and Raw t-shirt. Don't just give it to the Shield.
No. Not having it?
No, not having it. Did the New Day have a half and half t-shirt when they invaded with SmackDown?
No, they did not.
No, they did not. Because they're part of the team.
But they're trying to sell the t-shirt. That's probably why they're doing it purposely.
They can fake the t-shirt.
Where was I? The women attacked the Raw women attacked the SmackDown women in the locker room with Bliss laying out Charlotte's when she tried to pick up herself. Balor, Joe, Apollo Crews and Titus arrived with Shane Corbin and their SmackDown town arriving for the big brawl.
Yeah, Apollo Crews and Titus getting their revenge for what happened at the Under Siege, but they have nothing to do with the Survivor Series show itself.
Kurt Angle and Braun arrive. Braun kills everybody. Shane tries to attack him, but Braun kills him with the lariats.
Yeah.
The Shield beat Shane down. Sheamus joins in. Joe beats up Big E with Woods trombone as Angle comes to the ring, talks crap with Shane before things get worse. He gives him the thumbs down. Shane eats the Shield bomb, then an Angle slam, and then
it was a really bad Angle slam as well. It was all over the place. Rewatch it back, you'll see it's all.
Remembering it actually was very strange.
And why was another problem with my whole Survivor Series thing? You know, we mentioned at the start of the SmackDown review. Why are they being all buddy?
Raw just as bad.
Why is Braun Strowman being buddy with Roman Reigns? They try to kill each other.
Yeah, they had the most passionate. They had one of the best rivalries ever.
Also, the Bar was part of the team that tried to kill Braun Strowman as well. He's buddy with them too.
Indeed.
This is the part of the booking that I really hate about Survivor Series. I love the matches that are going to happen. I do.
But where's the heat?
Where exactly? And as soon as Survivor Series is over, they're going to go straight back to the old way.
Straight back.
You know.
One thing I must mention is ironic that Daniel Bryan wasn't there, even in the sides.
Well, no, because he's not allowed to take any bumps, so
he didn't have to. He could have been dragged out or something like that, like Kurt Angle was.
No, he wasn't part of it. Like, he's shown that he wasn't part of it. Storyline wise, it made sense that he wasn't part of it. Now, unless they want to do the thing where he was the one that let them in.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I mean. Especially if Kurt and Braun came in through didn't go into the arena.
See, just one more silly point about this whole invasion thing.
Go for it.
Last one. Why would you play Braun's music?
Yeah, it's another thing.
On a SmackDown show, why would you play Braun's music?
I agree, because he's the scariest person of them all.
Who cares? Why would you play it though?
Why would you play
on a SmackDown show?
The same could be said for the Shield. The same could be said for the New Day last week.
Yeah. Why?
Oh,
it's not as if there's one guy from Team Raw or Team SmackDown for any of these periods threatening the guy in the truck.
And come to think of it, how come?
Why was Raw's music played at the end of it as well?
And how come Big E had a microphone on Raw?
Yeah. See, these whole things about Raw's meant to have this. See, this is how the booking doesn't work for this.
They've let some things slide, and it's and maybe we're just being picky, but rightly so, I suppose.
Well, no, because like I know. Okay, look, we know it's wrestling. Let's be real here for a second.
Yeah.
Let's break kayfabe for a second here, and we know it's wrestling,
yeah.
and we know it's not real, but they still are trying to put a sense of reality into it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know. So
let's be real, lads.
Come on, let's try and be a little realistic.
Yeah,
just save face a little bit.
Yeah, let's quickly move on to 205 and NXT. We'll get to this very quickly. Kalisto celebrated his birthday on the night. Planned to bring his celebrations true to Survivor Series, where he'll beat Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight title. Yeah. Drew Gulak vows to Enzo that he'll make Kalisto's birthday forgettable. Cedric Alexander in his hometown with Rich Swann took on Jack Gallagher and Brian Kendrick in a tornado tag. I actually saw this match, and I'm going to give credit where it's due. This was a great match. Fantastic match.
Loved it.
Like Alexander and Swann took a hell of a beating, saving the match at times with plenty of submissions and near falls. Fantastic match. In the end, it was Alexander.
It's the first time I've seen Jack Gallagher have to undo his waistcoat and actually have the shirt untucked and everything. And like, that's not gentlemanly.
Very much so. Alexander beat Kendrick after his handstand kick and lumbar check. Ari Daivari took on Mustafa Ali, where Ali called Daivari stupid beforehand due to his attire. He wore like this really weird shirt and the yellow sunglasses. Yeah. Good match. Ali beats Daivari with his 0-5-4. And Kalisto then took on Drew Gulak, where Enzo talked trash beforehand. Enzo almost stopped Kalisto by tripping him, but Kalisto managed to nail his Salida del Sol on Gulak for the win. Gulak attacked Kalisto after the match with Gulak, but managed to fight back. Backstage, Kalisto shoved Enzo's face into the birthday cake before beating him up.
Who would have thought that was going to happen?
NXT. Street Profits took on the team of Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. It was the match was won in a good match. It was the Street Profits who won after Angelo Dawkins, who's their bigger member, pinned Sabatelli with like a running jab. Yeah. It looked like a version of a Superman punch or something like that.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Lars Sullivan took on Raul Mendoza. Sullivan literally destroyed Mendoza.
Swash.
Finishing him off with his move is called a freak accents, a waist-lift side slam.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. Lars looked like he was going to continue attacking Mendoza before Cassius Ohno ran to the ring. Lars and Ohno had an intense stare down before Lars laughed before walking away. Mercedes Martinez took on Ember Moon. Very good match, lots of great action. Moon managed to catch Martinez between the ropes, kicking her down to the canvas before finishing off with the Eclipse. Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce and Kairi Sane then all came out to lay down their places for the title match at War Games. And then Drew McIntyre challenged Johnny Almas to face him like a man. Almas did indeed come out, and the two brawled, and it looked like McIntyre had the upper hand until Salida Vargas' interference reversed the battle to where Almas planted his hammerlock DDT on McIntyre. It was announced also that Ruby Riott will face Sonya Deville next week, and of course the UK title match between Pete Dunne
will be televised, but except it's going to be a week later.
Yeah, it'll be in Houston, but we won't see it till next week.
Yeah, which we'll probably already know the result by then anyway.
As we would probably know by this stage. But that's our results of the week. When we return, we will talk more about our responses for our question of the week after this short break.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com. In the future, roving bands of comic book podcasts will savage the wasteland, once known as the Internet. One podcast, the Grawlix Podcast, may not be the biggest, may not be the funniest, may not be the most well-spoken. Wait, what was my point again? Oh yes, the Grawlix Podcast. Listen to it at grawlixpodcast.com. That's GRAWLIX podcast.com.
We're back here on 90.3 Near FM with the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides. Now let's continue on by analysing your responses to our question of the week.
They think they got the answers. I think the question.
Now, before we start off, we owe an apology. We were meaning to do this 2 weeks ago when during the show when Daragh fell sick, but obviously we couldn't do it then, and we couldn't do it last week either because we had so much to cover on the back of OTT and New Japan Power Struggle. So we still have all your answers prepared, so don't worry, we're going to respond to them now. On who do you think are the most and least deserving people to be crowned World Heavyweight Champion? It's a very broad one, isn't it? Like, because certainly there's so many we could go on about, certainly about the most deserving, but there's also there's more than you think with the least deserving as well, isn't there?
I think it's so strange actually, because there's a huge list for both.
Absolutely.
You could say, but it is all down to opinion.
It is like, you know,
some of the comments there, they took them off me, if you know what I mean. Like, there's some of the ones that came to my head straight away as well. Ones like, you know, David Arquette, Kevin Owens. This is a mixture of deserving and undeserving, by the way. I'm not.
Yeah.
Jinder, obviously.
Yeah, Jinder Mahal, obviously.
So we'll see.
Well, first of all,
let's see what people have to say. Actually,
let's do that. Cornell Gardner got on to us saying most deserving Kevin Owens winning the Universal title, as he literally put his life on the line by not picking up the biggest paychecks wrestling, then dominating NXT, then finally capped off his childhood dream by winning the Universal title. It's a very good call. I mean, he's been in the Indies for almost forever until he got into NXT, and he has done so well. And look at him now. Like, he's now one of the biggest stars in wrestling. Like, never mind just in WWE. David Kent from Lobo's Wrestling Parties, good to hear from you, Dave, said least deserving seems obvious, David Arquette, but Jinder's getting close to that level as well. Most deserving, Jeff Hardy. Interesting call. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
For me, Jeff Hardy's a questionable one. I mean, I'm not saying he's not deserving, but as most deserving. What do you think?
I don't know about most deserving. Like the amount of time he spent in WWE. I guess so. You could say.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I suppose maybe it would be down maybe to maybe his reigns on TNA.
No, TNA. Let's not. I don't think even he remembers what TNA is.
You're probably right. Yeah. Graham Laycock got onto us saying least by default is Arquette. Excluding that, Nash. Here's an interesting one. Kevin Nash's first WCW reign, which started with him being the first person to beat Goldberg. No need for that. Also, Hulk Hogan's 5th WWE reign, where he beat Yokozuna in 27 seconds or whatever at WrestleMania. Those are interesting calls, because I'm not sure I agree with the Kevin Nash one, because, you know, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but it certainly was, the significance of that was certainly, and he had a lot of hype with the NWO Wolfpack going into that, so I'm not sure I would fully agree with that, but I see where he comes from with Hulk Hogan for sure. Certainly it certainly dampens everything with the Bret Hart Yokozuna match before that. Like, it was a great match, and all of a sudden this happens all of a sudden, like, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He says most deserving Daniel Bryan and Eddie Guerrero.
Good call.
Can't argue either of them, to be honest with you.
Eddie Guerrero is definitely one I put in. There's some other good ones there as well that we got. It could be a controversial one though. Luciano Farrell got onto us.
He did.
He says most deserving for me is Chris Benoit. The man was a workhorse, always put on great matches with whoever he wrestled.
I don't really see that as controversial. Obviously, controversial
from what happened.
Obviously, but you can't deny that he didn't deserve it.
Exactly. Least deserving, Jinder Mahal. There's a common trend with a lot of the answers. It would be Mahal.
Yeah.
The man has done nothing to earn the title. He was only given the title to WWE, trying to grow their fan base in India. Yeah, like. Yeah, but
I won't completely agree with that.
I would. You know my point, my view on it very well.
That's not to say how much he has improved.
Not approved enough for a title shot, though.
Maybe.
Not approved enough for a title shot.
It certainly was a shock when he won it, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Chris Morrow got onto us saying, least Great Khali. Don't get me wrong, I love him, but why do you have it?
Yeah.
Because he was big. He was monstrous.
Yeah.
Most here's a good answer. Drew McIntyre in NXT. He came to WWE, didn't do that great, then he got released, then went to the Indies where he did amazing and proved WWE wrong, and then he came back, joined NXT, and won the title.
Yeah.
Can I agree with that?
Yeah.
Finally, Trev Ford got onto us saying, I think it's easy and he actually gets very deep with this one. I think it's easy to pick people who are deserving and didn't get the big belts, as 99% of the time the guys who get the belt are over in their respective promotions. But David Arquette is the most undeserving in history of all wrestling promotions, bar none, and I dare anyone to top that. He says Grado is a close second.
Really?
He was
ICW champion.
He was ICW.
He won it last year at their SSC Hydro show. Yeah. Against Drew Galloway.
Drew Galloway. Was that last year?
Yeah.
Where was that? Fear and Loathing?
Yeah.
No,
it was, wasn't it?
No, I think who was fighting for the title? It was Trent Seven and someone else. Trent Seven and Wolfgang. That was last year.
Oh, it was year before.
Must have been year before.
Yeah,
it was definitely year before. I think so. You can't really argue, ain't most of it really all the answers there.
There was one that they missed out on as undeserving, and I think it should be mentioned.
Go for it.
Two actually.
All right.
Vince Russo,
of course,
WCW champion.
Right.
Secondly, Vince McMahon, ECW champion.
WWE. Well,
ECW champion.
They kind of.
He won it. When they took over ECW, remember they made that Wednesday night or Tuesday night show?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won it then.
Here's a one for you. When Miz won the first WWE Championship.
His only WWE Championship, you mean? It was undeserving at the time, you could say, but now if he was to win it, you'd say be the most deserving.
I have no question about that. What else could you say? Here's a weird one. Hulk Hogan. You're probably reading the same thing I am, by the way. Hulk Hogan, when he came back as Hollywood Hulk Hogan in 2002.
To be undeserving or deserving?
I'll go with undeserving.
Out of the three that, they wanted a champion on the NWO to take the main title, and out of the three of them, he was probably the one that should. So I wouldn't say that was undeserving.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll conclude with most deserving. We can argue Daniel Bryan, we can argue Eddie Guerrero, we can argue Kevin Owens. Who else could we say? Again, take it the most over people. The people have worked very hard for
it. Christian.
Yeah.
When he was
John Cena,
World Heavyweight Champion.
John Cena.
Yeah. Well, John Cena's won so many. I'm thinking of people that got like the 1 or 2 reigns.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan, obviously.
Yeah. Chris Jericho.
What about Booker T? Booker T winning it in WWE. Obviously, he was a 5-time WCW champion in WCW.
I'd be more inclined to say how much he deserved his 5 WCW reigns, especially his first one.
Yeah, true. Let me see.
AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Can I argue that
AJ
either?
Styles is, yeah. He should have had it as soon as he got in the door. We'll
go for it.
He only won it twice.
Okay.
Randy Savage.
Oh, yes. That's a huge one. Only twice. WWE title.
Only won it twice. The WWE Championship twice.
The first one in particular. Absolutely. I can't argue with that. So that we can conclude on that. Some very good responses there. Obviously there's a huge range we can go with. The most undeserving, certainly the biggest ones, are very obvious. The Arquettes, the Russos, the McMahons. And the most deserving ones are very obvious as well. So we can happy we go with that. But that's our question of the week. Now we will move on now to our previews of the week.
Why, look at what we have here, folks!
So first of all, we're going to talk about Low Blows Wrestling Parties, who are back on November 19th, this Sunday, where they'll be showing WWE Survivor Series at Buskers on the Ball. To tell us more about it now, joining us on the line from Low Blows Wrestling Parties, Rick Nash. Rick, delighted to have you back here on the Kickouts.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Dave. Good to hear from you.
Of course, it's always fun to hear from you too. So you guys are back this Sunday for Survivor Series, one of the biggest pay-per-views in the WWE calendar, and you're back again on Buskers on the Ball.
Yeah, it's we have moved to Buskers from earlier this year, and one thing that we looked to do. And one thing that I kind of saw from the get-go, but I'm trying to kind of explain it to everyone, is there's so much more we can do with buskers that we never got a chance to do. And even like in terms of different kinds of nights we can run, which we can discuss, but like there's so much more that we could do. So what we've been trying to do is for the first few parties, you know, just kind of get people used to the venue, get people used to the change, and now we're like starting to kind of flex our muscles a little bit. And what we've put together is probably the biggest and best Survivor Series party we've done, with just the most things going on. So we have stuff like WWE 2K18. That's something we always used to have, but like this time we have it on Busker's video wall, which they do video games there as a standard anyway, if you've ever been in there like during the week and whatnot. Okay. So it looks really cool and it plays really cool. And people can play WWE 2K18. We have the return of our always popular Survivor Series table quiz beforehand as well, which is like a Survivor Series, of course, is all about elimination. Yeah. What happens is everyone comes in, they play a few rounds, and then we eliminate the people who are at the bottom, and then we keep eliminating teams until there's only one team left standing. Works. We're going to be doing that. Of course, as well, we also have Justin Shape, aka Justy, lined up. Former OTT star, Irish wrestling legend, trains with the likes of Finn Balor, Becky Lynch, has them on speed dial to these days. An absolute legend. Anyone who knows him from Twitter and whatnot, or from, of course, OTT and the likes. He's going to be coming by. He's going to be delivering a State of Irish Wrestling address. Long story short, I don't know how much you've talked about it on the Kick Out Live, but Justy left OTT a couple of months ago, which seemed to baffle a lot of people. They didn't understand why it happened or what happened. And as well, like, because it was so shrouded in mystery, I would talk to Justy as well. I have a lot of time for him. I get on with him. And I turn around and I'm like, well, Justy, you know, you seem like you have a lot to say. We've got a platform. We've got a microphone. Say whatever you want. We don't mind. This is your forum to kind of get your side of the story across. And anyone who knows Justy knows that even if you don't tell him that, he's going to say what he wants anyway. I know you've had him on your show before.
We've had him a few times, once or twice, yeah.
When you give him that kind of freedom, I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know what is going to be spoken about. I have no idea. I get to be a fan at one of my own parties and just sit back and enjoy the show. So it's going to be great. We'll have Justy there. We'll have our other new addition to Low Blows Live, Corporate Keen off YouTube, aka Keno Carroll. He's going to be there. He's going to be doing an open challenge on 2K18 as well. As well, like, people can challenge Justy. If you've ever wanted to wrestle Justy, but you don't like the idea of taking bumps, well, this is your perfect opportunity.
Taking his fish hook.
Or taking a fish hook. Well, I can't guarantee that you're not going to get a fish hook anyway, because I can't control Justy. I just let him loose. Let him run free. You get to play him as well, though, in 2K18 if you win a raffle. And then, of course, the main event, the coup de grace of it all, possibly the best Survivor Series card we've got in years. And let me tell you, from running these parties for 5 years, Survivor Series is a tough sell on people because they've kind of dropped the ball with it over the past few years. This year, they put together a phenomenal card, pun intended, because it's going to be AJ Styles against Brock Lesnar, an insane Survivor Series match. It's like 2 Survivor Series matches. And then, like, you have the likes of the Usos in the bar and undercards that when you look at it, you're like, I'm interested in all of these matches. What's going on? So it's going to be a great night. It starts at 6 p.m. when we have, of course, NXT War Games. If you don't want to do the late shift on Saturday and Sunday, come to us at 6 p.m., watch NXT War Games, and then just chill out, have a few pints, watch the graphs, and then have a great night guaranteed. Don't leave the question of if you'll have a great Survivor Series party in Vince McMahon's hands, because all that lending is you complaining on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you come to Buskers on the Ball and hang out with us, you're going to leave it saying, yeah, okay, maybe some of the things didn't happen the way I wanted to on the card, but I had a great night anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what we guarantee.
Absolutely. Yeah, so no matter what happens, like, you know, you guys can deliver it. Like, you know, like the idea of Vince McMahon's his idea of pro wrestling might not be the same as everyone else's, as you say, but at least you had a good time, and that's the important thing. So awesome stuff like there.
Exactly.
But no, going back to Justy, as I said, we have had him on once or twice before. Like, I'll never forget the story he told me. I don't know if he told you this, the story he told me about how what happened was when he was in France before. Like, this we did this in our end of year last year, and what happened was he said the same night when Thierry Henry handles the ball, he was wrestling in France, and he somehow managed to get on TV, like basically hammering them about the whole thing, and he turned it into a promo for the rest of the tour, and ended up becoming main events from it. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, it's I can only imagine what you'll have in store for you guys on Sunday, especially on the back of OTT.
The thing Justy says is, and he'll say it himself 100 times, he'll go, he has to figure out something to stand out. He has to figure out when he was training, like I said, with Finn Balor and Becky Lynch, two of the best wrestlers, not only in Ireland, in the world. He was in their training class. He had to figure out a way to stand out, and stand out he has over a 15-year career. And what has he done best? What did he do? What did he figure out? He figured out how to talk, how to use his mouth. So what we're doing is we're bringing Justy to Buskers on the Ball, and we're letting him talk. Unfiltered, uncut, uncensored. And we're letting him do what he does best. And I can't wait to see what he comes up with.
Absolutely, especially as you said in the back of his time in OTT, we've speculated about what happens and stuff like that. Like I was personally convinced at one stage, and I probably told him this before, that the whole thing's a work. Like, you know, what better way to get attention, I suppose, or one way of getting attention. But that's, like, we'll have to wait and see what he says. As well as that, you guys have got some cool drink promos. I understand you guys have a bag of cans offer of sorts in Buskers in the Ball.
Yeah, we went away, and as well, this is where, so we kind of like, with WrestleMania and with SummerSlam, we ran the parties, and we're like, let's just get people familiar, and let's let people know these are the same parties as you've seen before. You can relax and enjoy yourself here, like, because people don't tend to like change. But we're like, I think we've kind of established that now, and now we're looking at it because Buskers is a new venue, because they're looking for unique, cool things to do. There was a lot in old venues that we couldn't do because they were more established, and they have their stick for running things.
Yeah.
So with Buskers, they're like, we want ideas, we want stuff to do. So what we did was we just a blank piece of paper, and we're like, what's the perfect pay-per-view night? What makes it perfect for you when you're sitting down, you're watching a pay-per-view? What are the things you need? One of the suggestions that came up, a bag of cans. And
Think about that.
So we went to Buskers, and we were like, we have a weird one. Could you maybe like have cans there, and like have a big bag of them and like stuff like that? And they're like, yeah, we already do that. There's craft beer, and it's really nice beer as well, so you can get a bag of cans on the night. They're like, they usually do it on Thursday nights. They're like, yeah, we'll do it for your pay-per-views. If people like it, we'll do it. We also have, I was like, because Buskers do a snack menu as well, which, like, they're right in what they say, that most people want this stuff like chicken wings and chips and stuff like that. But I'm also like, for me, I want pizza. I always get, like, if I'm watching pay-per-view at home, I always get a Domino's in, you know?
Yeah.
So Buskers are like, yeah, we can sell pizza, that's no problem. So we'll be selling pizza on the night as well as the normal snack menu. In addition to all of that, because Justy's making his Low Blows party debut as a member of Low Blows, what we've decided to do is, and this is an exclusive for you.
Okay.
In January, we're going to be bringing back, in Woolshed, we had a WWE cocktail menu.
Okay.
We're going to be redoing that whole thing. And we're going to be doing not just the WWE cocktail menu, we're going to be doing a wrestling cocktail menu.
Nice.
And we're going to be doing special tailored cocktails based around wrestlers in the pro wrestling world. So this is the first of those cocktails on Sunday. And we had, like, this was a big thing on Twitter, like, Justy got people to send them in ideas, and then we had, like, different flavors and stuff like that. We've been working behind the scenes on this.
All right.
But we've come up with, we had the audience vote on what cocktail name they wanted. They picked the fish hook, which is the obvious choice, of course.
Okay.
There was a few other ones, so not all of which I can mention on radio.
Of course.
But,
no, understandable.
Interesting names. But the fish hook was the one everyone came up with, so we put it together. It's tequila, it's pineapple juice, and it's blue Corrado. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's Corrado, or bar people will know.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I had a drink on Thursday, and it's gorgeous. We're going to be selling that by the jug, because people love in the old days where we used to get jugs of cocktails. You can just have as much fish hook as you like.
Nice.
You can have a jug of Justy on the night.
There you go.
And of course, as standard, what we always say is we made sure when we signed with Buskers, we're like, we do not want our people to have to pay Temple Bar prices. I've obliged. No Temple Bar prices on the night.
Makes sense, especially because you said yourself, like, it's very dear around Temple Bar, where it's very affordable for on the night. Now, as for the card itself of Survivor Series and NXT War Games, what are your expectations or thoughts going into the shows?
Here's an interesting one. Around NXT, people are giving out because WWE are changing the rules somewhat, and there's no doubt that they are. They're WWE-ifying the rules of the War Games match. But, here's one thing that I'm predicting. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm still catching up on NXT. So just before I get my predictions in, but I'm telling you that every time we go into a takeover and we think that it's not going to live up to the bill, it always surpasses it. I think the War Games match is going to be absolutely class on Saturday. I think we won't care that they change the rules. As for Sunday, what am I expecting? I don't know. As always, I'm getting I'm overthinking. I'm getting into hyperdrive. I saw someone suggest that the Bullet Club could reunite and cost Brock Lesnar against AJ Styles, and that could set up the rumored match between Balor and Lesnar at the Rumble. Nice. I would absolutely love that. I don't know, I don't want to get myself too excited because Brock Lesnar is the heavy favorite for that match.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cool stuff. The Survivor Series, I do not have a clue. I would like to think that Balor is going to be the sole survivor, just because, again, you're looking at that Lesnar-Balor match that they apparently really want to do. So that'd be probably my one prediction, but I don't even have a clue. They're changing the match by the day now. Anyway, adding in and taking away new people and stuff like that. So yeah. I didn't even know. I haven't got a chance, but I know it's going to be an awesome card. Survivor Series matches never fail to live up to the bill. WWE, I think in the past few years, they've kind of lost their way a bit with the Royal Rumble match, but they've really found their niche in Survivor Series. So I think they're going to put on an absolute clinic. Last year's match was one of the best matches of the year, 45 minutes of absolute bedlam.
So many spots as well.
When you look at the wrestlers that are in this, the main event level talent, pretty much all of them, except for Bobby Roode, who's just awkwardly in there waiting to be replaced. But if you look at it, it's 10 superstars, 10 megastars, 10 people who never get pinned in general on shows. All of them are lined up, so I've no idea what they're planning, but I'm all in for it.
Especially unpredictable, considering how much of change in the card, and for the better, to their credit as well. From the likes of AJ against Brock instead of Jinder Mahal and the likes as well. It's awkward for us in the show, especially because I'm not sure if you heard, we have a prediction league here on TKO, and I'm severely behind at the moment. And this is the last two shows now where we have to make. So I literally need a miracle, and apparently the forfeit is taking the chop off for 10 chops off a wrestler. So I'm done for. I think the way this is going. So yeah.
Well, just moisturize your chest that morning and just grin and bear it. It'll be over.
Yeah.
It's like a set in the gym. Just get through it and you're done.
Yeah. Now, before I let you go, obviously I have to bring up, you guys are also doing a party next year on January 4th. For the first time, you're going to be doing Wrestle Kingdom 12. The first time you guys are doing a Lobos party for a New Japan show. Yes.
Well, a few years ago, we used to call ourselves WWE Parties Earl, and we had a bit of a run-in with WWE because they're people think that
I heard the story,
a WWE thing, and it's no, they don't. It's WWE Parties. People understand that. Anyway, I was like, do you know what? We want to run parties for the rest of promotions. I don't want to be tied into WWE forever because WWE can be a bit lame at times. And there's a lot of other cool stuff. There's been an explosion on the independent scene, on the Japanese scene of interest as of late, especially because our parties are over 18, especially with adult audiences. So now that we're in buskers, we can try new things that we couldn't do beforehand. This is one of them, and this is the first one. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have, because we sat back and again we're thinking, right, what do people need to watch Wrestle Kingdom if we were going to do something around it? And I'm like, well, first it starts at 6 a.m. and most people need to get the day off work. So it's and a lot of people don't know New Japan well enough to be able to commit to that. So I'm like, okay, let's move the time. We'll show it on the same day, but let's show it at 5 p.m. when people are getting off work. And even then, the way New Japan cards are structured, with the best matches coming out last, it's even if you can't get there till 6 or 7, you won't miss anything. You'll still see the matches that will get everyone talking.
Yeah.
If you've never watched New Japan, but you're interested in it, you can watch it around other Japanese fans. You can basically fill you in on the storylines as you go, and you can kind of get a better understanding for it. You can see the atmosphere. You know who the baby faces are, who the heels are. You know who to cheer, who to boo, etc. As well, it's English commentary. That's a big thing as well. So, like, you'll have Kevin Kelly and Don Callis, maybe Rocky Romero on the night, being able to translate it right there for you, so you're able to understand what's going on. So it's basically just, if you, and another thing as well, a big problem with a lot of people for watching New Japan is, even if you want to watch it by the, like, you have to look into it. Last year, I got caught up with a stream, and like, it ended up being a nightmare. I missed all of the co-main events between Naito and Tanahashi because I had problems with my New Japan World. I missed all of it. So you don't have to navigate dodgy streams. You don't have to go on to, if you have New Japan World, it's basically a Japanese website, but you can get it through Google Translate. Like, you can kind of understand what's going on. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just come down to Buskers at 5 p.m. on the 4th of January. We'll look after that stuff. And then just sit back, get a few points in, and enjoy the night.
Sounds awesome.
The only thing I'm raging about is that it's the first party I'm going to miss personally, because I'm actually planning a trip. I'm going to New Japan. I have a ticket booked.
Awesome.
I'm going to be in the Tokyo Dome to see it. That's going to be awesome, and I am delighted with that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also raging I'm going to miss this party, because this party is going to be class. So it's a bit bittersweet for me. But I think I'll get over it ultimately.
You'll be fine. Lad, come here. You'd be like thinking to yourself, listen, I can't go to this party because I'm actually seeing the match live. I mean, it's a pretty good rate for it. So
again, I will get over it, like, but also, like, I would love to be there, especially it's a historic night, a completely different night.
Yeah.
It's on a Thursday as well. We've never run a pay-per-view party on a Thursday at normal times. People don't need to get off work or anything like that, which is a problem for us sometimes. So it's going to be great. I can't wait. And it's for me, if you're a newbie to New Japan, or even if you're a regular, it's the most convenient way. You don't have to make any compromises in your life. You just get to enjoy it. And as well, what we've done is, we normally charge in ticket prices, because as well, we have to be a business. We're not funded by buskers.
Yep.
So we've lowered our ticket prices to the lowest they've been since, I think, our first party in Captain America 6 years ago. They're only like €5 with booking fee on top, so they're the lowest they've ever been.
Nice.
As well, because it's just, we're showing the party, so we're going to charge people as low rates as possible. I'm going to see what I can do about getting buskers to lower the drink prices as well. We want to make this accessible for anyone who wants to see New Japan. So there you go. You can get tickets on eventbrite.ie.
Awesome stuff. That's great. So much to look forward to. I personally can't wait for that show. In the meantime, Survivor Series is going to be taking place, Buskers in the Ball, as you say, on 19th of November, and then of course the Wrestle Kingdom show on January 4th of next year. Tickets for both events on eventbrite.ie. Rick, it's a pleasure to have you all on. I must say, safe journeys over in Japan when you go there. It's huge. I personally wish I was in your shoes to go there, because it's such a huge opportunity to go there. But in the meantime, all the best and more setting up for the weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
I'll see you at the weekend, Dave. Thanks for having me as always.
More than welcome. And that was Rick Nash, who we spoke to from Low Blows Wrestling Parties for their Survivor Series party at Buskers in the Ball. So I look forward to, isn't there? I really can't wait.
Yeah. Actually, the one that I can't wait for is the Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
We got our tickets there last week, and we actually booked our table as well.
Should be class.
So I can't wait for that.
Now let's quickly talk about the rest of the previews happening over the next couple of weeks. This Saturday, or actually today I should say, Pro Wrestling also will have their Junction 5 Power Diesel show happening on S13 in Belfast. There's still tickets available on tickettailor.com. The matches announced includes Phil Boyd will be defending his All-Ulster title in a 6-way match against Kano, Nathan Byrne, Tim Seeds, Michael May and Crawford. Flash Morgan Webster to take on Justy. The new PW Tag Team Champions, LJ Cleary and Nathan Martin, aka Team New School they're calling themselves, will be putting their titles on the line. Dick Templeton will be defending his Pro Wrestling Ulster title against Sanchez. Some 2 new matches announced. Raven Creeds will be making her Pro Wrestling Ulster debut, taking on Lauren LaRue.
Yep.
And the WWE UK Showcase match, Joseph Connors will take on Tucker. Tucker, who of course stepped in for the injured Tron.
Yep.
JDP, Katie Harvey and the Queen's Court. CTP the Third, Rocky Star are also all set to appear for that as well. Now, next Sunday, OTT will be back for Contenders 4 at the Ringside Club International Stadium in Dublin. There are still tickets available on eventbrite.ie. The matches announced include, in a triple threat match, Curtis Murray, Kenny Williams and Nathan Martin. I can't wait for that match.
Yeah.
That should be very good. LJ Cleary to take on the Fabulous Nikki. Joe Coffey to take on Michael May. The team of Jordan Devlin and Scotty Davis to take on Aussie Open, aka Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis.
That's going to be a great match.
That's going to be an awesome match. And just announced this week, Raven Creed making her OTT debut against Debbie Cattell. Should be a very interesting match.
Yeah.
As we talked about as well, the top 3 performers will all on the cards will be taking on British Strong Style in Bean Dilly. As we said before, it's an awesome initiative for whoever gets that as well. So especially taking on 3 such huge stars in the indie scene like them as well. So, but that's our preview of the week. Now let's finish off our show now with our yes nos.
Yes, no! Yes, no! Yes, no!
So there's only a few ones to bring up, but we'll just get them through very quickly. We sort of went through this with our predictions. I'll just bring it up anyway. Either Paige or Nikki Bella to return to Survivor Series as SmackDown's 5th member.
Yes.
So it's one or the other. It's definitely not Natalia.
No, in WWE it probably will be.
Probably will be. All this hype, all these promos, all this gathering up. No, it's Natalia.
Yeah, probably be Natalia, but I'd love to see either of those two.
Now the other 3 are more so to do with rumours concerning WWE. Hulk Hogan negotiating a return.
Oh,
You don't seem happy where.
I don't care.
What would he do in WWE anyway?
Show up, say brother a couple of times, get paid, leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Come to my new shop in Florida. You know?
Oh yeah, he was mentioning that. Yeah, I remember seeing news about that. Neville to return to WWE. There's rumours now to return.
Supposedly they're having positive talks about it. Yes, if it's not in 205 Live.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think that because it's positive that it won't be it won't be the case.
Unless they're saying do 6 more months, like wait till after WrestleMania, then you can.
He's too good.
But
he's too good.
Then they could renege on that and stuff. I don't know. Like
he's too good.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Let him wrestle as a non-cruiserweight.
Keep the gimmick. Change the opponents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Michelle McCool to return to WWE.
I've seen the Twitter talk between her and Charlotte.
Oh, just talking? No, that.
Yeah, they were.
Is that the reason about it?
That's the reasoning behind these reports. I don't know. They might. She's probably going to be there for the 25th anniversary show because Taker's going to be there. So.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, bring her back for one last match at Mania. Why not?
Sure, why not? Yeah. Sure, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this week on The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 Near FM, on all good podcasting providers, on the Electronic Media Collective podcast network. But make sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Kickout Wrestling, and on Twitter at The Kickout Live, my Twitter at Dave Bandana, and Dara's at
Mars Bar.
I'll be back next week to talk about all the latest developments from the world of pro wrestling, both here and abroad. Now, we have to leave with this. Obviously, we're both about crestfallen of the departure of James Ellsworth. Mm-hmm. Like, as you said yourself in the news, he's probably the most relatable wrestler, like, certainly the last year, like, you know, because, and as he said to us plenty of times, any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance.
Yeah.
So we'll go out on his theme song. So until next week, I've been Dave Cullen. He's been Daragh Maher. This has been The Kicker. Thank you so much for listening and have a great weekend. Enjoy Survivor Series.